Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the John Doe Review. My name is Danielle John Doe, obviously. I got this little mic on me, and guys, today we're gonna keep it cash, okay? I didn't sleep well last night. I do struggle with insomnia. My eyes are really dry. That's why I'm wearing my glasses, and I have a huge pimple on my cheek. Girls, if you know, you know. Okay, so we're not having a good time. But I made this challenge for myself. 1 episode every 2 weeks. Let's do it. Okay, so on today's agenda, we're going to be talking about my birthday party, the Ninja Creami, Bad Bunny's halftime performance, men making things awkward and not having social skills, and Valentine's Day. And then obviously this is the John Doe review, so I do have to end with reviewing the past 2 weeks of my life out of 5 stars. You gotta wait until the end to figure that out. I do believe this week's episode will actually be the shortest. I know last week I thought the episode was gonna be pretty short. It ended up being over 30 minutes. Starting with our first topic, my birthday party. I did turn 26 on February 9th. I did just have to think about what day my birthday was. I also think it's because I feel like my birthday is hard to remember because it doesn't sound like a birthday. You know what I mean? Like February 9th kind of sounds fake, but like February 12th, that sounds like a birthday. Okay? But what I did for my 26th birthday party is I've been wanting to host like a whodunit murder mystery party for forever, and I almost did it for Halloween. But then me and Hunter's Halloween party ended up being over 30 people, and we were like, if we try to host a whodunit, it's not going to be productive with 30 people. So I kept my birthday party kind of small this year. I maxed it out at 15, and we did buy a mystery from a website. And we did a Great Gatsby themed. Everyone actually dressed up as their character, which I thought was really cool. What was unique about this though is it's like a full-fledged, like if you're into D&D, it's almost kind of like that. Someone, I think it was Hunter, was like, are we LARPing? We're not LARPing, okay? No offense to the LARP community. But it was like, it was this weird realm of you're yourself, but you're also playing a character and like having to become a different person. And as the host, we're given this guideline of, you know, all the different characters, a little bit about their personalities. And then this website also gave you like tips on how to assign them. So they'd be like, here's this character, assign them to somebody who's really assertive, or assign it to somebody who's really charming. And so I feel like we really nailed each of these character assignments because I don't feel like anyone who received their character didn't fit the character description at all, or like, oh, this kind of works. No, like I feel like we got everyone pretty much spot on, which was nice. I did, at least for me, I did a like more fancy vibe, right? Because we're doing 20s, so like we're all in these nice dresses and we have these gloves on and the headpieces and whatever. And for us as the hosts, usually I do more simple foods to prepare for parties, or like sometimes we'll ask people to bring stuff. But for this one, I was like, no, it's fancy, and so we're gonna treat everybody. So we did 3 courses, and courses is a strong word though, because the first 2 were kind of at the same time, but whatever. The first course was appetizers, right? So I did fig and goat cheese crackers. If you haven't tried goat cheese, you're sleeping on it. I used to think I would think it would be gross before I tried it. And no, I actually really like it, especially with like some sort of fruit jam. And then I did barbecue jerk meatballs. That one was a big hit. People kept eating that one. And I honestly thought people would be like, oh, whatever, meatballs. But no, they really liked it. And then the last one I had was we threw in some, I think it's called like panko shrimp or something into the oven. That lasted like 5 minutes, but honestly, it's shrimp, you know? For the main course, which was the star of the show, specifically one aspect of it, I made my mom's Mississippi pot roast. And it is literally the best roast I've ever had. And I've always wanted to try to make it because it looks pretty easy. But I don't know, I was just scared. Finally made it. It was over 11 pounds for 15 people because I was worried I wouldn't have enough. We had more than enough left over. I cooked it for 9 hours. Like, we woke up early, prepped everything, popped it in the oven at, I want to say like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. And then we took it out at 7. And man, when I tell you that thing was, ooh, like you would just poke it with the fork and it would pull apart. And then it had like pepperoncinis on it. And oh, it was like a little spicy, almost like a little sour, but really, really juicy and tender meat. If you're not buying your meat from Costco, you're wrong. Literally the best quality meat I have ever gotten anywhere, in regards to just like a standard grocery store. Highly recommend. It was like their chuck roast. Oh my God. And then along with that, I just made these garlic and butter mashed potatoes with like red skin potatoes. And then we had steamed green beans. That was just like salt and pepper. And then I made these lemon pepper honey Brussels sprouts that I had made for a couple of friends a while ago. And they were like, it's so good. And so I made it again. And yeah, that was the main course. People loved it. I elongated our dining room table so that it could fit all of us. We just put 15 chairs around it and like had plate setups and assigned seats and everything. And so we all ate there. We all got to discuss and everything. And then for dessert, Hunter did surprise me with a ice cream birthday cake because I'm not that crazy about cake. Which, if you watched last episode, you're like, really, you're not that crazy about cake because it was a whole debacle. Look, okay, when I like cake, I really like cake. But for the most part, ice cream's my favorite dessert. And so that was what we had for dessert. And no, Hunter did not eat all of it. Which, shout out to him, because I was a little concerned with his track record. So the point of this whole party, you know, we have the theme, we're all dressed up as characters, is that it kind of happens in 2 phases. The first phase is everybody arrives and they get their objectives. And on your objective sheet, it just has like, hey, you need to go talk to so-and-so about y'all's beef in high school. And then on theirs, it might say, hey, if somebody asks you about this beef, here's what you need to say. And this is how you need to act about that situation. It might tell you, hey, you need to be defensive about this, or, oh, you need to spread this rumor or whatever, right? That's the first phase. And then there's a second phase that gets started once the murder happens. And what's so funny is, so me and Hunter as the hosts, we actually didn't know who the murderer was, but we chose to know who the victim was because I had a specific friend in mind who I wanted to play the victim. Because in this scenario, the victim, once they die, instead of just having to sit there for the rest of it, they actually get to become the detective and lead the investigation of the murder. And so I had this specific friend that I wanted to, you know, play this victim role, because how it happens is the lights cut off and then the victim's supposed to like act like, I don't know, they got shot or something, and then lay on the ground, and then the lights come back on, and then it's supposed to be revealed, oh my God, there was a murder, and oh my God, that person's the victim, right? But what was funny, we didn't think about this, is, you know, we timed the whole lighting thing. We have an app on our phone that controls the lights in our house. We were like, okay, the lights will cut off. It'll be pitch black. And then they come back on, and people will be so shocked to see this body on the ground, right? Because at that point, nobody knows who the victim is going to be. We forgot that we had lit candles for the long table that we made for everyone to sit at. So while everybody's, you know, up and mingling, Hunter calls everyone over for a toast. And I think we made our trigger word like, big cheers to my wife, Daisy, right? Because it's Great Gatsby themed. He was Jay Gatsby, I was Daisy Gatsby. And he says big cheers. I hit the button for all the lights to go off, and we're expecting it to, you know, be pitch black, and then people are about to be shocked. And I do have this on video if you ever want to see it. Just reach out to me if you have my number. The lights cut out, and the candlelight is still lighting up the room for the most part. So you see my friend go, oh, and then she lays on the ground, and you see the people around her while the lights are off look at her like, huh? And then my other friend randomly, I guess it clicks her head, and she goes, ah! just like that. And it's so funny because I set up, we knew like where the murder would happen. So I had my camera right there and it's so funny. And then lights cut on and then slowly people start to realize like, oh, that's what just happened. And then everybody starts screaming. Obviously I'm making a big deal about it. I'm like, oh my God, medic. And then my friend resurrects as Detective Dicky and leads the investigation. Long story short, it was a great time. I thought my friends would be a little more on the like, okay, Danielle, if this is what you want to do for your birthday, I guess we'll do it. And I think at first that's what it was. But as the night went on, like people really got into it. The mystery itself was only supposed to take 3 hours. And I think we ended up spending over 4.5 hours on it because people were just really, talking to people, trying to build their case and figure it out. And it was really fun. And then also for like alcohol, since I did a more fancy dinner, or fancy by my standards for hosting, we served all, or not all, but most, or not even most, oh my God. We have so much wine left over from our wedding. So we served some of the wine left over. We still have a whole closet full of alcohol though. So people are a little tipsy but they're in character and they're all dressed fancy and you killed my father. And then like people are starting rumors about other people. Anyways, I said this long story short. Only 2 people guessed who the murderer was. And for legal reasons, because I did sign a contract when I bought the mystery, I can't tell you who actually killed the person who was the victim, but I was surprised. They had me fooled. I'm talking about, I was so fooled that I'm conversing with this person and I'm like, yeah, I really, it's not me, right? And I don't think it's you. And then they're going, yeah, no. And I don't think it's you either. Like, I think we're good. And then we're discussing together who we thought done it while they know that they were the one who did it the entire time. And this person played it off so well. So when the deliberation happens and we all sit back down in our seats and we're discussing, we're making our accusations, only 2 people voted for this person. And it was like, everybody was like, oh, okay, I guess. And then it got revealed, the detective reads off of their script and is, these are all the things and here's all the evidence and blah, blah, blah. And then we basically had this revelation that it was this person and everyone at the table was like, what? And then the person who was the murderer stands up and is like, okay, here's my reasoning, and like fully explains something that made sense. But it's so crazy how they manipulated the story because they like started rumors about other people. Like usually I'm good about like any type of like social deception games. I'm good at figuring out people and like reading them, but man, I fully thought it was somebody completely unrelated to the murder. Like I wasn't even close. I did win. There's like little awards at the end that you have to vote on. And I did tie for best dressed as Daisy. So it could have been because it was my birthday though. So I'm not going to take it too seriously. But that was really, really fun. Honestly, we're considering buying another theme from that website. There's one that's like based in a trailer park that I keep seeing reviews where people are like, the story is really funny because a Great Gatsby theme is like super serious, right? And it's millionaires and dirty money and we're killing people. Like, but when it comes to a trailer park, what's the tea? Like your baby mama stole your truck? Like how does that work? And all the reviews say it's hilarious. So we're considering doing it for 4th of July. So we might, it depends. It was a little stressful planning it, but I also think with a trailer park theme, I'm not going to go as fancy. Like I might just do hamburgers and hot dogs and call it a day. Yeah. So the party was on Saturday. And my actual birthday was on Monday. Hunter surprised me with my birthday gift. And he got me, moving on to our next topic, a Ninja Creami. I've been asking, or not asking for one, but I've been eyeballing one for months now, or probably, honestly, over a year. Just because I love ice cream. I love frozen treats. And I love acai. this would give me a reason to make acai regularly. So, and if you don't know what acai is, I think it's a berry, but also like an acai mix has multiple berries in it. And it's kind of like a smoothie bowl. You eat it with granola, fruit on top. But it's really, really good. I love it. And I wish I could make it at home. But I feel like, I don't know, we have a blender, but I don't think it'd get it to the right texture, you know, the right thickness. I feel like it'd make it too watery. And so he surprised me with one. And the first thing we tried to make was Coke Zero slushy, because it can make slushies, or at least this version that we have can do it, right? Here's the kicker though, we didn't read the instructions, and so all we did was freeze, like pour Coke Zero into the container and freeze it overnight. And then the next day, while I'm at work, I'm double checking, okay, how do we make this? What settings do I do? I realize you can't freeze something that's water-based or that has no sugar. And the reason is really obvious, and I'm embarrassed I didn't think of this. It's because it freezes too hard for blades to cut through it. So I tell Hunter this, and our dumbasses are like, okay, we'll just leave it out for like 30 minutes. That should help. What ended up happening is we put it in the Ninja Creami, turned the button on, maybe for 30 seconds it sounds fine, and then it gets so loud. I'm talking, at first it was like, and then it was like, oh! I started being like, oh my God. And I turned to Hunter and I go, is it supposed to be that loud? And he goes, I don't think so. And so then I get forward because it literally sounds like it's about to explode. And I hit the off button. We take it out and there's like maybe half a centimeter that was like slushed up. And then the rest was rock solid. And to make this worse, we made 3 individual containers of this. So me, Hunter, and my sister-in-law are like, okay, whatever, we'll just chip at it with a spoon, you know, to not waste all the Coke Zero we poured into these and froze overnight. We then spend the next hour and a half chipping at the Coke Zero in the Ninja Creami container, and it literally sounds like we're carving marble. And we're like watching Bridgerton as we're doing it, and we're like, it got pathetic too, because it'd be like 6 minutes of just silence, Bridgerton, and the chipping sound. So, and then it would rotate every now and then. Someone would go, guys, look. And then they'd take their spoon and scrape the most pathetic little amount of slush. Really, it's just like ice shards, and be like, look, I got a spoonful. It's not even like half of the spoon. And then they eat it and they're like, wow, 10 minutes of work for half of a bite. This is great. And so we eventually ended up giving up. Hunter gave up, and then like later on, while it was a little more melted, fisted it and tried to take bites out of it. Thankfully he did stop. I was worried about him chipping a tooth. But that fail happened, and we have redeemed ourselves. There's a setting on it where you can like use normal ice cream, but mix stuff into it. And so we baked fresh cookies and then put Bluebell vanilla ice cream in it and like mixed it up and then froze it overnight. And I just tried it like not even an hour ago. It literally tastes like fresh baked cookies. So yes. Because that is literally my favorite dessert. It's like a warm cookie. What's the word? Like pizookie? It's a warm cookie with some ice cream on top. And this one is like, hey, if you don't want to go through the time of making cookies today, you already pre-made an ice cream that tastes exactly like it. And the like texture is so, I could go on and on. I love the Ninja Creami. Next challenge, an acai bowl. But I don't think that'll be that hard. Watch us mess it up. All right, little bit of a topic shift, not even little bit. We're going from Ninja Creami to Bad Bunny. The Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance. Number 1, if you had an issue with Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl, I genuinely think you're an idiot. Now, if you're saying, oh, I'm not a fan of him, okay, that's fine. I've never heard of Bad Bunny. Sure, okay, you've been living under a rock. Sure. But if you're genuinely like, this is an American game and we should have American performers, you're an idiot. Bad Bunny's Puerto Rican, and in case you didn't know, Bad Bunny, the state of Bad Bunny, no. The territory of Puerto Rico is American territory. It is owned by the US. People from Puerto Rico are considered American citizens. And low-key, in my opinion, Puerto Rico is a state. They just don't want to go through, and by they, the US just doesn't want to go through the responsibility of actually saying this is a state, because I also feel like people are racist and they're going to be like, no, but they speak Spanish there and we speak English in America. That's besides the point. His performance was, in my opinion, amazing. And this is coming from the perspective of, I had never listened to Bad Bunny like that before this. Like, actually, I had heard some of his songs, but for the most part, the image of Bad Bunny in my mind was like his really old image, where like his head was shaved and he was like wearing really colorful stuff, and like he looked a little crazy at the time. But I still tuned in because I wanted to support, and also I'm like, y'all, to me, I don't care about if I can understand the language in the music or not, because at the end of the day, music is sound, right? Even if I can't understand what they're saying, if I like the way it sounds, then I like the way it sounds. And then if I really want to know what whoever's singing is talking about, then I'll just look up the lyrics. It's really not hard. And I feel like if you're somebody who's like, I don't like any music that I can't understand, you're closed-minded, you need to wake up, and you need to expand your horizons. I watched his Super Bowl performance. I thought it was beautifully directed, and obviously I don't speak Spanish, so I could still kind of pick up on what he was trying to communicate. So then my curiosity was piqued. So then I started looking into some of the songs he performed. Fell in love. Oh my goodness. I listened to his last album and the album before that. Really, really amazing work that he's doing. And I feel so late to the parade, and I'm actually very late to the parade, because I've had people in my life tell me, hey, you should listen to Bad Bunny, or, oh, this song's so lit, and I just like never fully looked into him. No, after that performance, my interest was piqued, and then now, like, I'm a fan. He's such a cool guy. 10 out of 10 performance. Also, let's talk about how it's not always someone from America who's performing at the Super Bowl. Why was that an issue? We all know why. Moving on. This topic happened recently. So I had to go on a work trip, and I was stupid and forgot to pack toothpaste. If there's something that I forget to pack, it is always toothpaste. I don't know why. And like hotels nowadays, they don't provide toothpaste. I feel like I remember back in the day there being toothpaste, but whatever. So my coworker, or one of my coworkers, it was a group of us who went, was also on my floor. And so I asked her when we're on our way back to the hotel, hey, you're on my floor, could I stop by and like literally squirt some toothpaste into a cup so I could use it for tonight and tomorrow? And she's like, yeah, sure. Her boyfriend had come with her on the trip just to keep her company in her room. So I'm like, okay. So we walk in there, she opens the door, she calls out, are you decent? No response. Okay. She walks in, I follow her, and I round the corner and I see her boyfriend on the bed. He's shirtless. Okay, this is your space. Okay, guess you don't mind. I look at him and I go, hey. I was a dumbass and I forgot toothpaste, so I'm gonna steal some from y'all. Thanks. And you want to know what he does? He has his phone, you know, his legs, he's like propped up by the headboard. His legs are out in front of him. He's, you know, chilling in bed, sees me walk in, sees me say all of that directly to him. I'm making eye contact with him. Looks and goes back to his phone. So you're dating a fucking loser. I didn't say that to my coworker though. And if she ever sees this, I think you're an awesome person. And from that interaction alone, I can tell your boyfriend's a fucking loser. Now, if you're out there going, Danielle, that's really judgmental and maybe he's not social. There's a difference between being shy and being fucking rude. And 9 times out of 10, if I'm in a social situation where it would make sense for someone to speak back to me or to acknowledge my presence and they don't do it, it's a man. Like, I think about how if the roles were flipped and Hunter did some corny ass, cringy ass shit like that, I would have been like, excuse me, are you not gonna greet my coworker? Hello? I could have hated whoever walked through the door. You need to at least acknowledge their presence. The fuck? And so, and it's just the way that, and I was in the room for a couple of minutes as she searched around. And then obviously I said bye to both of them because I'm not fucking weird. I'm not a fucking weirdo, unlike some people. I acknowledged both of them, said thank you and left, did not look up from his phone. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think it's really fucking cringy. I think it's really fucking weird. I think it's weirdo behavior. If someone is in front of you talking to you and it's a normal situation, like your significant other's coworker coming over to buy, that shit was free, coming over to borrow, can't borrow it because I put it in my mouth, coming over to steal some toothpaste, and they look at you in your 2 eyeballs and say words directly to you, you need to fucking respond. Because if you don't, you know what you look like? A fucking weirdo loser. And I mean it. What's so interesting about this, and I feel like if you're a woman, you have been in this scenario where a man has just done something where it's like, ugh. I posted it or this whole scenario on my close friend story on Instagram, and one of my friends, who's also a man, said it's because women have been like conditioned to always be pleasant and always be welcoming and, you know, like put on a smile and whatever. And men have never had that pressure. So if they're just like, if it's not something they genuinely care about, they're just going to be like, eh. And I'm like, exactly. And also, even if you don't care about something or like, you know, I'm meeting you for the first time, we don't care about each other, I'm still going to acknowledge you and give you the common decency and respect to acknowledge that, hey, you're a thing that exists in front of me and you're talking to me. So is the life of a woman. If you're a man watching this, don't be a loser. Moving on to Valentine's Day. I'm not always angry at things. My Pookie Wookieekins Hunter, my husband, got me a couple of things. He didn't get me flowers. I know that can be controversial for some people. I have specifically told Hunter to not get me flowers, and it's not because I'm a freaking pick-me and, oh, I'm so different from girls and I'm so low maintenance. No. It's specifically because I don't like flowers. And this doesn't mean I actively dislike flowers. It's just I don't like them in the sense that if you give me flowers and every single time I've been given flowers, all that happens is I go, cute, smell them, think they smell kind of weird, and then I put them on my counter and then they rot. And so I genuinely would rather you spend that money on something else that I'm actually going to actively enjoy. So he got me my favorite chocolates, which is Ferrero Rocher. If you haven't had a Ferrero Rocher, it's the little gold ball things. The hazel with the nut in the middle. I don't like how that sounds, but you know what I mean? Phenomenal. The wafer. Okay, I'll move on. But so he got me my favorite chocolates, and then he surprised me with his own podcast episode. where he like fully copies what I do, but kind of flips it. While I was actually on this work trip that I was just talking about, he took my whole setup, my mic, my light, everything, and made me a podcast episode where he just talks about like kind of our story and how the what did he say? The last 2 months of our marriage has been since I do like the last 2 weeks of my life. He did the last 2 months of our marriage. And just kind of like, it was actually really sweet. He just talked about that and his thoughts and his feelings on everything and, you know, what I mean to him. And if you don't know this about me, my thing that I love over any gift, like actually, is anything that's like a note, or in this sense, what he made, which was like a 17-minute long episode. It wasn't short. It was like a full-on podcast episode. Where it's like someone giving me their thoughts on like us and our relationship. And that doesn't even have to be like in a romantic way. Like I've had notes from friends, I've had notes from family, and I've kept every single one of them. Like I have a big folder in my side table by our bed, and it's filled with notes since as early as, I want to say like late middle school or like early high school. And I've just kept them all because I love hearing or reading what people have to say about like how they feel and you know, our lives and stuff like that. And so I love that he made me this episode. It was really cute. We sat on the couch and I got to eat my favorite chocolate and watch this episode he made me. And it was really sweet. And he's so dorky and so cute and whatever. But on top of that, he also booked a couples massage for us, and it's going to be his first massage. It's going to be my second. My first massage was at a spa resort for my bachelorette, and woo, I had a U.S. veteran do it. He did his job. Okay. God bless our soldiers. But yeah, Hunter has never had a massage. And so this is his chance to do it. We didn't book it for actual Valentine's Day because the one masseuse that like kept getting mentioned in the reviews that has like quote unquote magic hands, she wasn't available for Valentine's Day. So we're actually going this Saturday. So the day before this gets posted, and I will be talking about it in the next episode because after my first massage, I'm a fan and I'm excited to see what Hunter says. Stuff that I got for him was the Switch 2. Now, the Switch 2 lore in our relationship goes kind of deep. The Switch 2 was announced and it doesn't have an OLED screen. So if you're into gaming, OLED is like the higher quality screen. The colors look better and it's like individual pixels or whatever, right? The Switch 1 has a model with OLED on it. And then they announced the Switch 2 and it doesn't have an OLED display. So I'm like, okay, that's stupid. That's obviously a money grab, whatever. I already knew I was going to get it for Hunter. Originally I was going to get it as our wedding gift, but we ended up not doing wedding gifts because we decided to put more stuff towards our honeymoon. And honestly, our wedding gifts were our wedding bands. But I kept rage baiting him up until the wedding because he really wanted to buy one. And like, we're super into gaming as a couple. And so I kept telling him like, no, it's stupid. We're going to wait however long they take to get the OLED model out. And that could be years, but I don't care. Mind you, like he has games and low-key, I have games that I want to play that are exclusively on it. But I kept rage baiting him because I wanted to surprise him with it. Finally, it gets closer to the wedding. We decide, okay, we should probably be more conservative with our money for, you know, our trip and everything. And so I reveal it to him and he literally does not believe me when I tell him like, I actually really support you getting a Switch 2 because I also want to play on it. And he was like, no. And he just kept saying, no, you're lying. And I was like, no, I really was trolling you. Because I thought it'd be funny to see like the look on his face when I gave it to him. But so I let him know and we're like, okay, maybe one day. Because, you know, we're still trying to be financially responsible, all of the things, recovering from our wedding, all of that. And so after that, I realized, okay, I can get this for Valentine's Day for him. And so how I set it up is I know he wanted this specific game for the Switch, but it's like also available on the Switch too. And so I set it up as if I bought the game that he wanted, but I got it for the wrong Switch model. So he gets home, I show him the game, and he's like, oh, nice, nice. And then he's looking closer at it, and he's like, thank you, thank you. Oh, no, this is for the Switch 2, though. And I was like, oh, I'm so dumb. It was in the Switch section. I didn't even notice. Mind you, it literally says Switch 2, and then underneath the title, it says Switch 2 edition. And I honestly, I was worried that he might be like, immediately like, okay, where's the Switch 2? Because you're not this fucking stupid to buy the wrong one. But I guess he believed it. And he was like, yeah, this bitch is dumb. She just grabbed the wrong one. It's right there on the title. But he was super nice about it. I was like, oh my God, here, let's go back to GameStop. We can exchange it. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. But little did he know, I set up one of our rooms where I had a chair and I put the Switch, a case for it, a screen protector for it, and then a Pro controller for it. And I like organized it in this chair. And then I set us on this like house thing, or like house chore where I was like, we need to, you know, pick our clothes that we need to donate because we have too many clothes that we need to donate them. And I set it up to where the last room we would go to, you know, find clothes would be that chair. He'd open the door and the chair would be right there with everything. And so, you know, we pack up what we want to donate from this closet, and then I kind of urge him to lead the way into the next room with the rest of our clothes. And he opens the door, walks forward, sees the chair, and then just stands there in silence for like 10 seconds. And then finally he turns around, and I can't even remember what he said. I think he was like, no way, no way. And like we hug, and he was like, ah, thank you, thank you. And we've been playing the shit out of that Switch 2. Mario Kart World? I'm having a great time, and I'm not even the biggest Mario Kart fan, but there's other games I want to play on it, and he's playing that game that he's been wanting for so long, and it looks way better on the Switch 2, so am I mad at Nintendo for not doing OLED? Yes, but is the Switch 2 better and higher quality? Also, yes, and it made my Pookie happy, so. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the episode. I have no idea how long this is. I keep talking about it, but I really wonder. But I have to rate the last 2 weeks. I'm going to give it 3 stars. 3.3 because I did get to celebrate my love, but there was some annoying stuff happening, okay? People being ignorant about the halftime show, annoying, socially unaware men, and this pimple, okay? But some stuff also made up for it. My birthday party was awesome. And I'm in love. Happy Valentine's Day. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all the things, follow on all the platforms, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.